Hello all, welcome back to another video. Today I thought it'd be fun to go over and tell you guys my 2022 manga TBR slash PTR, my to be read slash plan to read list. I'm going to pop the image up on the screen. Bam, here it is. It's a 6x6 grid, so 36 mangas that I'm planning on reading this year. And I hope to kind of do like an update video every couple months, every like couple quarters, I guess, to basically show you guys where I'm at, what I've been reading, what I've been up to, and we can discuss. I'm hoping to make videos on some of these, probably not all of these, and this list might change. It might not be the same. I'm going to try and stick to it. Most of these things on here that I really do want to read. There's some wild cards that I probably won't get to, but I want to read anyway, and that's why they're on there, and I will talk about them when we get to them. But yeah, I figured it'd be fun to show you guys what I'm planning to read this year. I know we're already in February. Like I said, I'm going to try and update this every couple months, so I probably won't update this until April or May for the next one. But anyway, I'm going to just jump into it and just go over the series randomly. But yeah, first up, bam, Attack on Titan. So I've been anime only for this series pretty much up until the beginning of this year. I started reading this one, and I'll talk about it at the end. There's a couple series in here, but this is one of those series I started reading last month in January. And basically, I've been anime only up until now. So I haven't started season 4 part 2, but I am all the way caught up to everything before that. So I'm planning on reading up until where season 4 part 2 begins in the manga, and then I want to complete the anime first and get that experience, because there are some differences that they do between the manga and the anime. Right now I am really liking the manga. I personally think the anime is a better way to go and enjoy the story, but I am enjoying the manga quite a bit. So Attack on Titan, I've been reading it. Hopefully I will get this one done. I should be able to get this one done. Let's move on to the next one. All right, the next series I want to talk about, Dr. Slump, and it's a gag manga, comedy manga. I'm not sure if it's like one-off chapters or if there's an overarching story, like there's just like a theme of the week type chapter. I'm not sure. I think I've read the first volume forever ago. I don't really remember too much, but I'm excited to get this one. I really love Akira Toriyama. I think Dragon Ball Z was the first anime that wasn't like Pokemon that I watched, like the first adapted anime from a manga, I believe. It's not the first manga I ever read, but I think it's the first anime that wasn't Pokemon or like Digimon that I watched. So I'm excited to read this one. It's a classic. It's considered great. I know Wea Bruh started reading it and he's not crazy into it, but it's Akira Toriyama. It's a classic, and I feel like I need to read it at some point. So all right, number 3, Jojo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders. So I've read part 3 before, but I never finished it. I think I got like 6 or 7 volumes in, so either like right around when they're in Egypt or about to be in Egypt or something like that. And this is one of the ones I was talking about where I started. I'm slowly getting my way through this one. I just haven't really been in love with it. It's just a little too monster of the week formula for me, and I personally think that's just boring. And especially when most of the time they're not even that great at villains, and it's like always just like the JoJo team pulls something out of their ass just to win. I don't know. I want to get through JoJo's because I know part 4 and on is where the really good stuff, or like a lot of people's favorite JoJo's moments happen. So I want to get to what's considered the good stuff before I really lay too hard into it. But as far as parts 1 through 3, not a big fan personally, but I'm excited to have my opinion change hopefully when I get to part 4, but still got to finish part 3, and that is on the list. All right, moving on to number 4, we have Yu Yu Hakusho. And so there's gonna be a trend with a lot of these series. These are series that I've read portions of that I never finished, like JoJo's part 3, Dr. Slump, and now Yu Yu Hakusho. I didn't get very far in Yu Yu Hakusho, not because I didn't like it. I actually really liked Yu Yu Hakusho. I just only ever could find the first couple volumes, and that's as far as I read back when I was really into manga. I'm really into manga now, obviously, but I had taken a break from collecting and reading for portions of my time as a manga collector, manga enthusiast. So I just never found the other volumes, and I did acquire all of them I think last year or the end of 2020, and it just like kept pushing back on reading it. But this year I'm definitely going to be reading it. I think as soon as I finish JoJo's part 3, Yu Yu Hakusho is next up on the lineup. But this is one that is critically acclaimed. Again, a series that I feel like I need to have read at this point. It's just been sitting on my to be read list for far too long, and I really need to finish this one. So I know it's classic, I know it's great, I do like Yu Yu Hakusho. I just need to finish it and have a full opinion on it, because Yoshihiro Togashi is great. Hunter x Hunter is awesome. From what I've read of both of them, I like Yu Yu Hakusho a little more, but I didn't get very far in Hunter x Hunter either. I did get a little farther, but Yu Yu Hakusho is one that's definitely going to be finished this year. And like I said, after JoJo's part 3, that's the next read I think I'm going to do. So following Yu Yu Hakusho, another classic, we have Rakan Kenshin, and again, one that I've read portions of but never finished, and this one is also really good. I know the author has some controversies, and obviously I don't condone what he did. It's disgusting. It's it's honestly insane that he's still able to like write and work with Shueisha through, I think, Jump Square or whatever magazine he's being published in. But Rurouni Kenshin is really, really great, and I haven't even finished it, so there's lots of parts that I'm still missing that I haven't read. But it's a very classic, and it's one that I think everybody should read at some point. My opinion might change, obviously, as I continue to read more, but it's really good. I can understand if you don't want to touch this at all, but if you're into shonen, especially like 90s and like classic shonen, it's one to read. And even if you don't, if you really don't want to support it, but you want to read it, just read it online, whatever, or read it through the Viz app, support other artists that are working now. Yeah, another classic series that I never finished and want to finish, and I do plan on reading this one. This would probably get to after Yu Hakusho, maybe. It's like somewhere down that pipeline, but Yu Hakusho is definitely going to come before this one. This one I feel like I'm going to get done this year. It's a little bit down the pipeline. All right, following that one, we have a series that isn't really talked about too much, but this is xxxholic, or just Holic, I think people call it. So I'm probably just going to say Holic from now on. I got introduced to this one through the anime, and another one of these ones where I liked it. It's not that I didn't like it, why I stopped reading it, but I was like finding the volumes, and then the manga, I don't know about the anime, but the manga has like a crossover story with, not Captain Tsubasa, I think it's Tsubasa Chronicles, whatever other series by Clamp called Tsubasa, whatever it's called. There's like into the main story, it's like woven in, there's like a crossover between the two series, and I kind of was like, oh, I should read that, and then I never found those. I think I'm gonna read Holic and decide if I want to go read Tsubasa Chronicles. Stuff like crossovers always gets me, because then it's just so much intertwining, and like I feel like I have to buy a series that I'm not necessarily into just to get the full story. So I'm really just waiting on a couple volumes. I have most of this series, so, and then there's like a spin-off, Holic Ray, that I do want to read if I get it, which I'm planning on getting it soon if I can. There's only 4 volumes, so that's kind of just what I'm waiting on. So this one might not get done this year. It just depends if I can find those last 2 volumes. But yeah, Holic, I'm excited to get to this one. Hopefully I can get those last 2 and read it this year. Okay, next up we have Bleach, one of the big 3, shonen big 3 in Jump when it was running. I fanboyed over Naruto for the longest time, and then I started getting a little older and I found Bleach, and I was like, damn, Bleach is really cool. And it's still really cool. And this is another series that I've been reading. I got to the Soul Society arc. The early stuff is really good. I still really like it. The Soul Society arc is not as good as I remember it. There's some good parts, but I didn't get too very far, so my opinion might change on that. I know there's a lot of things that like get revealed at the end that I know the main one, but I don't want to spoil it if anyone hasn't read Bleach, but there's a lot of things that happen. It's a little basic in the beginning, but my opinion might change as I keep going. I'm just really trying to focus on Jojos and Attack on Titan so I can jump to some other series since they're a bit shorter, especially Jojos. But Bleach is great. I never finished this one either. I think I got like halfway through the series when it was currently being serialized, and I never read any of the 1,000-Year Blood War. So I finished Naruto I finished Naruto in 2020. I wanted to finish Bleach last year, but I never got around to it. So 2022, I will definitely finish Bleach. That is on the list to definitely be finished. Like I said, I've been reading it, so yeah. I don't have much to say. It's Bleach. You know it. You like it or you hate it. I like it. Hopefully the 1,000-Year Blood War is better than people say it is, but because I know a lot of people don't really like what happens after the end of the Espada arc with Sosuke and all them. So I'm excited to finish that arc, and I'm excited to get to the 1,000-Year Blood War. The anime's coming out this year, I think in October. So it's a good year to be a Bleach fan, and I'm excited to finally finish this one. So Bleach is on my list to finish in 2022. All right, next up, something a little different. Technically a seinen. We have Blue Period, which is currently ongoing. I read the first volume and I really enjoyed it. The characters are really interesting. I know a lot of people are really into this, and I did like it, but I've yet to decide if I'm fully on the really love train. But what I had read, it was really enjoyed. I just put it down because I wasn't planning on reading it anytime soon, but I think I read this last year. But this year I really do want to get up to date with it, so I'm planning on jumping back in from the beginning and reading up to date at some point. But the story is really interesting, and the characters and cast are really, really interesting as well. So I'm excited to go into this one. This is one that I might not get to this year, but I do really want to get to this year. So we'll see. And I just want to reiterate, I know we're 9 series in, and this is not any particular order. Like, this isn't like most wanted to read or like least wanted to read to top and back and all that. This is just all 36 that I want to read in a random order. So it's not like this is the 9th one that I'm going to read this year. So I just want to reiterate that one. But this is an ongoing one, so I'm less likely to get to it. I'm trying to focus on completed series at the moment, but I do want to start some ongoing or get more into some more ongoing series like Blue Period. And I already did read the first volume and enjoyed it, so it is one that I'm want to get to, but not dying to get to this year if I don't get to it. But hopefully can knock some other series out and get to actually reading this one. So Blue Period. Following Blue Period, we have Wandering Island, and this is a really, really short series. There's only 2 volumes out in Japan and English. It's been on hiatus, and I really don't know why. I've looked into it, but I don't remember if I ever found something. I don't think I did, but it's a short 2-volume series, technically ongoing, but it's been on hiatus for a few years now, so I doubt it's coming back anytime soon. But it's the same artist who does Emami. This one, Wandering Island, is just the artist. He's writing a story, and it's really beautiful. He's an incredible artist. If you haven't read Emami, this one just has some great like single page, double page spreads. It's really interesting. It's about this woman who grandfather passes away. They live on this remote island, and she does deliveries via like airplane. There's like a mystery like wandering island that vanishes every so often, and she gets a letter/package that was supposed to be delivered to that island. There's an address on there that her grandfather never did, and she's trying to find out more about the island and why it disappears, what's the mystery behind the package and all that. And it's just really interesting, and it's like I said, it's really beautiful. It's super short. It's only 2 volumes. Wandering Island. I'm excited. So I know we're talking about Wandering Island. I mentioned Emami, and that is also on this list. It's broken up into Emami, Memories of Emami, and then like Emami Wanderer, and that's in 2 parts. But it's 3 volumes in total. I'm not sure why in English they combine them. Maybe it'll make sense once I read it. But in Japan, Emami, Memories of Emami is like it's like a one-shot, 1 volume, and then Emami Wanderer is 2 parts. It's a 2-volume thing. So, and that's why they're on this list separately, because it's separate, but it's like the same. It's like it's a story of following Emami. So I'm combining these 2 into 1, basically, because that's how it is done in English. But anyway, I've just heard really great things. I know Manga Panels. He's talked about this one before. Again, like the art is incredible. It's the Wandering Island artist. And like I said, I've heard nothing but great things. This is one that I've been wanting to read, and it's short, so I should also definitely be able to read this one. I don't know too much about it, so that's why some of these will get like synopsises, because I know about some or some I don't. It's rated really highly on MAL. Not that I care that much about ratings, but if you care about stuff like that, it's got a decent MAL rating, and hopefully I don't slack off. But Emami is definitely one I should be able to read just because it's so short. All right, following Emami, we have Sket Dan, and this one never gets talked about, probably because, at least in like America or the US or English speaking countries, I should say, we never got this one, and I really don't know why. This is another one that I started years ago. I was into while it was being serialized weekly in Shonen Jump, but I felt it was like one of the times I fell off reading manga just because I was doing so much and I was in high school and all that stuff. There's a lot going on. I forget the creator's name, but he was a previous assistant to Gintama. So if you like Gintama and like comedy stuff, you'll probably really like Sket Dance. If you don't mind reading it digitally, I don't think it's available on the Shonen Jump app at all either, so you'd have to read like scanslations to read it. But it's really good. It's about this high school club that basically goes around and like will solve people's problems, and it's just a really funny, wacky comedy high school slice of life story. I remember, his name is Kento Shinohara, I believe. He's the same creator who did Astro Lost in Space, which we did get in English, and he currently has Witch Watch serialized in Shonen Jump right now. So, you know, he's a veteran of Jump. This was his first series, I think. I could be wrong. He might have like one-shots or like mini series that he did, but I think this was his first like long running series, I believe, and it's really good. From what I read, I want to finish it. Again, one that I just need to finish. It's not super long. It's like 20 something volumes. It's like 200 chapters, so a good length for a Shonen Jump manga. That's like about the average. I don't know if it's actually average, but to me, like, that's a good run. If you can get to 200 to 250 chapters, maybe even like 300, like that's a good length for a good shonen series, especially one that's more like one-off type of weekly chapter type thing. I don't know if there's an overarching story that ever introduces. I'm sure it does. I don't remember how popular it was, and I'm excited to go back and finish this one. All right, moving on. We are gonna circle somewhat back and talk about Jojos. So this is Jojos Part 4. I only have 3 and 4 on this list. I plan on reading 5, 6, and 7, and maybe 8, but I definitely will not get to them all this year. So for this year, I'm focusing on finishing Part 3 and starting Part 4, so I can kind of get a good feel of whether or not I really do enjoy JoJo, because right now I don't enjoy JoJo, like I said before, but I want to enjoy JoJo. I like the world of JoJo and some of the characters of JoJo. I just think the writing is really bad personally, but I'm in the minority there. Anyway, JoJo Part 4. I don't know too much about it. I actually really like Josuke as a character. I played with him in the PS3 like beat 'em up game that they did, like Star Battle or something, and he was my favorite to play as. He's just really funny and wacky. So, and I think he's also Araki's favorite Joestar. I don't know if he's a Joestar, but he's Araki's favorite JoJo. I know that. So, and again, this is where it's supposed to get really good. So I'm excited to get to the good JoJos, what's considered the better JoJos, and form a more informed opinion on whether or not JoJo's is overrated or deserves the hype. So I'm definitely planning on getting this one this year, so I can decide if I want to keep going. If not, if it's really not enjoying it, I might just skip the Steel Ball Run, because I know most people consider that to be the best arc, but we'll see. I haven't decided. I haven't got there yet. So JoJo's Part 4 should be on the list to be definitely read this year. Following JoJo's, another shonen, we have one that's not talked about either as much, same like Skit Dance, but Prince of Tennis, except we did actually get this one in English. Another series, again, that I started, never read. I actually got introduced to this one on Toonami, the anime. It was really good. But anyway, I almost have all the volumes. I'm just waiting on one in back order to read this one, and this was actually one I am really excited to read. It's a sports manga, so I should be able to read it relatively quickly, but just waiting on that one volume, and as soon as that comes in, that'll probably move up the list to be read. Same with Holic. I want to read it on the volumes in physical print and not online. This is a pretty long one. I don't think most people know. It's like a 40 volume series. And then there's a sequel series that is in Jump SQ or Jump Square, which is a monthly magazine, and there's like 200 something chapters of that. This is a really popular series in Japan. Tennis isn't that popular here, so I can understand why it didn't do that well, but it's like super popular in Japan, so I understand why they tried to make it a thing. But I remember liking this one a lot, and especially the anime, like I said, but I never finished it. So as soon as that last volume comes in, I'll probably be able to finish this one. Following Prince of Tennis, we have another Shonen Jump series, Assassination Classroom, and that is a trend you guys will see. I have a lot of Shonen Jump series on here. That's because I love Shonen Jump. To me, Shonen Jump was manga. Like, I read a couple little things back in the day that weren't Shonen Jump, but 99% of what I read was Shonen Jump. And now as I'm older and exploring and getting into more things, as I've picked back up the hobby, there's so many series, like darker series, that I haven't gotten to. Assassination Classroom actually has a special place in my heart, because it was one of the times where I had fallen out of reading, and it's a series that brought me back into reading manga and collecting manga. And it's the same creator of Demon Detective Nero, which I was a huge fan of, and am a huge fan of, and is on this list because I never finished it, because I don't finish fucking anything, because I'm an idiot, but I really want to finish Nero first. I think that series is better personally. He's really good at writing darker toned series and just like creepier and grotesque series. You do get some of that in Assassination Classroom with Koro Sensei, and the mystery behind like where he comes from and the fact he's gonna blow up the moon that would kill everybody, but it's just a little too much like villain of the week type thing, and it takes a little too long to get into the narrative, in my opinion, but it's enjoyable. I really wish he would go back to doing darker, grotesque stuff. I actually really liked F-Ken. It's nothing crazy, but it gave me those like creepy, grotesque, dark theme vibes that he's really good at portraying in his characters, because they have such wicked expressions. But I haven't read Elusive Samurai yet. I don't know if it's dark like Nero or if it's more like Assassination Classroom, but hopefully I'll get to this one. I should get to this one. I might just read it on the app. I'm like halfway. I think I have 12 volumes or so, but if I get them, cool. If not, I'll read the rest on the app. Not a big deal. So I was just talking about how I wanted to expand my horizons from Shonen and Shonen Jump series. So next we're going to talk about 20th and 21st Century Boys. Nokiaosawa needs no introduction. I believe, have I read a Nokiaosawa book? I don't think I've actually read any Nokiaosawa. I've been collecting a couple of his, but this is the first series I have complete. It was one that I got the perfect editions for, and then I was going to read them, but they just kept getting pushed back on my TBR, PTR. Do really want to read this one this year. There's a couple other seinens ahead of it that I want to read too, but I do plan on reading this. It's not super long. It's only like 20 volumes, I think, and then the 21st Century Boy volumes are like, there's like 2 volumes of those, but in like perfect edition, it's like 11, and then the 21st Century Boy single or omnibus, the only one of those. But yeah, this is a darker one, like a seinen that I've been wanting to read. It's on pretty much everyone's like top 10 list, or most people's top 10 list. Nokiaosawa is incredible from what I hear, so I'm excited to get to this one, expand out from shonen and read more seinen. grow my manga reading palette. So hopefully we get to this one, but this one could be moved around a little bit. We'll see. Okie dokie, next up we have back to Shonen Jump. We're talking about Black Cat by Kentaro Yubuki. This is the creator. He's doing Ayakashi Triangle right now, and he is the artist on To Love Ru. Those are more harem ecchi stuff. This one is actually like an action. I don't remember too much about it, honestly. I remember reading the first 2 volumes and really liking it, but I honestly couldn't tell you what it's about. This is just one, like I said, I started and I just want to finish and finally like have been read. Next up is another series that I personally really love that just never finished, and that is Beelzebub. It was super popular in Japan when it was coming out. I think the sales dropped off at some point though, from what I'm hearing, which is crazy because I know it was like killing it in the magazine like early on. So I don't know if the quality declined or whatever, but Beelzebub is awesome. It's about this guy named Oga who finds a baby who is actually the demon lord in the underworld's son, and he is tasked to basically train him up to be an evil demon and enslave humanity. But it's awesome. It's hilarious. The characters are great. The art is fantastic. The fights are great. If you like delinquent manga and you haven't read this one, definitely recommend. Unfortunately, again, this is a series that we never got in English, and there's no like, it's not even like digitally. You'd have to read scans. I think it's because there's a naked baby. You see the naked baby in the series throughout, so I don't know if they just didn't want to even step near that. This is one of those few times that I would have been okay with them just like censoring the baby's privates. I'm not a big fan of censorship in any like art form, but to get more people to read it, if you just wanted to cover it up, fine with me. It was disgusting to look at anyway. I didn't like looking at that stuff. Obviously, I shouldn't have to say that, but I am. But it's great regardless. If you just cover it up, it doesn't take away anything from the story. It's just, I don't know why they do, I guess for comedy. The Japanese people have a very interesting sense of humor, but it's awesome. Hopefully can get to this one and finish it for real. Next up, I'm going to talk about another series that's not really talked about, and that is Hoshin Engai. I'm not sure how to say it. This is another one series. I only read the first volume, and I actually remember really liking it. It takes place, I think, in like ancient China, if I'm remembering correctly. Again, this was forever ago. I only read 1 volume, and I really liked it, and it's just not talked about. I don't know why. So maybe it declines in quality. I don't know, but I'm hoping to rectify that and reading it. This one again is more of a wild card. I should be able to get to this one, but it just depends on, you know, what I am able to finish this year, because like I said, there's a bunch of series I really want to get to. Moving on, we are going to talk about another ongoing series actually. So this one is Mission Yozakura Family, and this is running in Shonen Jump right now. This one's not really talked about, and I don't know why. I think the art's really good, so the story might be poo-poo. I don't know why people don't talk about it, but I think the art's incredible, and that's really what drew me in. I think his paneling is really well done. The fight scenes are really well done, just from the few that I've flipped through. But I don't know too much about this, so I'm excited to get to this one. This is again another one that's kind of up in the air, just because it's an ongoing series, and I'm trying to focus on concluded series. But Mission Yozakura Family, I hope I can get to this one this year, but we will see. Alrighty. Next up, we're going to talk about some Osamu Tezuka. I think this is the first one on the list that I'm talking about. I think there's only one more, but this is Swallowing the Earth. And this is really short. I don't know how many Japanese volumes there are, but there's only one, like omnibus type style. It's all in one in English, and I should be able to read this no problem. Again, this is a really short series, but I've been really trying to train myself. Not really train, that's not the right word, but I really want to expose myself to older and more classic series, especially Osamu Tezuka, who is considered the godfather of manga. And Swallowing the Earth has a really interesting premise. I think I read like the first chapter. I honestly don't remember too much about it. I remember liking it, so I stopped. I was busy at the time, but this one I'm going to go back to and fully read. Again, it's super short. I definitely should be able to get to this one, and hopefully I can read some more Osamu Tezuka lists besides the 2 that are on here. But Swallowing the Earth is definitely a plan to, like, a hard, easy, solid, should be able to get to this one this year. Moving on from that, we're back to the shonen category, and this is an interesting one. I heard mixed things, a lot of mixed things. I really don't know why, but I'm gonna stop beating around the bush. And this one is Fairy Tail, another series that I read forever ago. I think I got not pretty far in the grand scheme of things, but it was like, I got like 20 volumes in or so, and I liked all of what I read of Fairy Tail. So I'm curious as to why it gets so much hate. I really enjoyed Fairy Tail. I've always loved the art and the characters, and I think the fights are great and the story's great, at least from what I read. Maybe it drops off in quality later on, but I don't know. I like Fairy Tail. I'm excited to finish this one, and maybe my opinion will change, but Fairy Tail's cool. All right, we're gonna talk about the other Osamu Tezuka work on here now, MW. I actually have no idea what this is about. Personally, I just want to read it because it's Osamu Tezuka. I'm more excited for Swallowing the Earth than this one, but we'll see. If I get to this one, cool. Following MW, we have Hikaru no Go. This is a series that I would read in the monthly English Shonen Jump magazines, but I never collected at the time. I liked what I read. I don't remember too much about what happens. I just know it's about a boy who gets possessed by like a spirit who's really good at Go, and he plays a bunch of Go matches. That's all I really know and remember about it, to be honest. All right, next up we have High Score Girl, and I got introduced to this one on a recommendation from the Anime Man. I think it was a monthly otaku. I'm not sure. He did a video talking about it. They started releasing these in English, so I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And I really don't know much about this one either. I just know it follows these two kids, and they play a lot of fighting games or arcade games, which I love. I love fighting games. I love arcade games, and that sounds really awesome. Especially like I think it takes place in the 80s or the 90s. And again, it has a decent MAL rating. It's like a 8 something on MAL, which I don't care too much about. It's popular and it seems pretty cool. It seems right up my alley. I'm just waiting for all the volumes to come out, and so I can read it all physically. I think I have the first 6, and there's only 10 volumes. This one I'm definitely going to read. It's just as soon as the volumes come out. I know volume 9 isn't supposed to come out till September, so I don't even know if all the volumes are going to release this year. So this one might just get pushed back just because of release schedules. But this one is higher on my list that I do really want to read, so I hope that volume 9 gets pushed up on release, and volume 10, the final volume, will be able to release in 2021, so I can read it. But we'll see. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and circle back a little bit. This one we're talking about Demon Detective Nagaminero, which is the English translation of the full title, which is like Majin Tantei Nagaminero, which is Yusei Matsui's previous work from Assassination Classroom. And I don't know why we didn't get this one in English. This is another series that personally don't understand. Assassination Classroom did really well in English. I thought for sure they were going to print this out and bring it in English. It could be because they never did an omnibus format in Japanese, because a lot of times when Viz Media doesn't localize it when it's out, there's sometimes series will get omnibus formats and then they'll just print the omnibus formats because I guess it's cheaper and easier, which is another side tangent. I much prefer singles than omnibus format from pretty much most series, but we never got this one, and this one is awesome. This is, again, my opinion, better than Assassination Classroom, and assuming Elusive Samurai is similar in Assassination Classroom's kind of like structure and you know, Villain of the Week type style, it's probably not as good as Nero, but I haven't read that one, so that's all speculation. Yusei Matsui is just really good at drawing people in like such distorted and wicked looking ways, making them look really evil and gross. It follows a demon from the underworld who feasts on mysteries. So he comes up and basically uses this girl, I think her name was Yuko? I forget her name, but there's a girl who he uses to solve mysteries and then basically feast on the solved mystery cases. This one is also kind of like Villain of the Week. It's better at exploring its overarching narrative of how like the main girl's father died, and there's a main antagonist who is who basically starts making these like boxes of dead people, and it's a big mystery that they have to solve. I personally like this one a lot. It's one of my all-time favorites. Again, I started it, just never finished it. I've tried to finish this a couple times, but life would just get in the way and I would fall out of the hobby, as I keep saying. But this one is really good, and I do recommend you reading it. This one is really high on my list, and I should be able to finish this one this year. Alright, so a couple series ago we were talking about Fairy Tail, and now I want to talk about Eden Zero. I really don't know much about Eden Zero. It's one of those like, I'm a fan of Fairy Tail, so I want to read Eden Zero type thing. This one is ongoing. I don't know if I'll get to this one. I really love the character designs, even if they are very similar to Fairy Tail. Some of them more than others. Like, I don't think the main character, like people say the main character looks like Natsu, and like, but he's completely different. He has black hair and he wears different clothes. There's definitely a character that does look like Urza, and then I think her name is Rebecca, the other girl, the main girl, does look a lot like Lucy. I think the problem is the hair color is very similar. They're wearing different clothes, but they have the same colors. White and blue are like Lucy's colors, so that's kind of on him for doing stuff like that. So I understand. He you know, the man works really hard. He's got like working on game characters, and I think he's trying to make a game. He's working on all these extra series. He's got Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest, which I don't know if I'm gonna get to that ever. I still gotta finish Fairy Tail, like I said. This isn't kind of like a far off way. If I finish Fairy Tail early on in the year, I'll probably get to this one, but we'll see. Alright, we're making our way, guys. We're almost there. We're getting to the final stretch, but the next series I want to talk about is Goodnight Poon Poon by Inio Asano. This is pretty much considered his like best work by most people. I know a lot of people like Solanin and Dead Dead Demons. I read a little bit of Dead Dead Demons, and that was the first thing I ever read of him. And I really enjoyed what I read. I only read 2 volumes. It's one of those ones where I knew I wasn't going to get to it, so I just stopped, and I'm going to come back to it later. I've read some other of his works. They're okay, but I heard Goodnight Pun Pun is his best, and I'm excited to read it. It's super short. It's only like 13 volumes, like 7 omnibuses, or like 6, and then like a smaller one. This one's high up there. It's one of those seinen ones that I really want to get to. I just need to finish some of the other shonen ones I'm working on, and I'll probably get to this one before I get to 20th and 21st Century Boys, but we shall see. I just need to finish those other shonens, like I said, before I jump into these. Cool, back-to-back seinen. We're gonna jump into Blade of the Immortal, which I've been like a samurai kick. I can't believe I haven't read this one. I know so many people regard this super highly. It's about the same level of excitement for Pun Pun. I really want to get to this one too. It's a little bit longer, so I'll probably try and read Pun Pun first. But Blade of the Immortal is some amazing art, and I have the movie, and I've been wanting to watch the movie for a while, but I wanted to read the source material first and kind of compare. But this is one I probably will read this year. I just need to get to it at some point, so I probably won't get to it for a little bit, but this is a definite read for me this year. I'm really gonna crush this one this year. I'm trying to crush all this, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I don't know much about this one either. I know I keep like rambling a little bit. I don't know too much about this one. It's samurai, it's historic. That's all I need to know. All right, back to shonen. This series is something that I can't believe I haven't finished this one because I love it so much. I know, guys. I just feel like I'm just a broken record, but this one is Eye Shield 21, and I've never gotten that far. I think I got like 6 or 7 volumes in. Is the one where, again, where I fall off, where I couldn't find all the volumes when I was reading it physically, and I'm just waiting on one volume, guys. I probably would have had this series been read like this year or last year or even 2020. I've been waiting on one volume to find. I think it's volume 26. So if somebody could hook me up, let me know. I'm just waiting on that. Honestly, if I don't read it this year, it's because I can't find that last volume. It is incredibly like out of stock, and it's just hasn't come back in. There's a bunch I know that are like that. I'm not looking for them, so I don't know which volumes are like that anymore. I know 26 is insane. I think it's a lot of the later ones, but this series needs no introductions. It's incredible. Even if you don't like sports mangas, I really don't like football. I don't dislike it, but I don't really care for it. But Eye Shield 21 is incredible. Yusuke Murata is probably my favorite mangaka artist ever. His art is incredible. He's just amazing, and like I said, I'm beating myself up for never finishing this series. It's absolutely amazing, and I'm excited. I just really just need that last volume so I can read this, and as soon as I get it, that's gonna be shot right high up on the list to get to reading. As soon as like even if I'm reading something, I might just like pause and start reading that one because I've been dying to read this one. So if you guys don't know, it's about this kid who's really fast, but he's really scared, and he gets picked on, and he's basically forced into playing football, but they cover his face so other schools don't come out to recruit him since he's never played before. He just literally gets like dragged on. So it's kind of them building their team and trying to go to, it's similar to Slam Dunk, where they're trying to build their team and go to the national championship and win for their school. And it's just really great. The art is great. It's the same writer as Dr. Stone, so if you like that, you can check that out. Check it out for sure. I definitely recommend it. And if you just enjoy One Punch Man or anything Yusuke Murata's art, the art alone is incredible. You can see him transform from volume 1 all the way to volume 37. So this next series pains me to talk about because it's incomplete in English, and I really like this series a lot. But this one is Strawberry 100%. It's only a 19 volume series, but they stopped printing it at volume 14. They were so close to the end and they just dropped it. I guess sales. I'm not really sure why they dropped it. It was popular in the beginning, so I don't know why they canceled it. Alas, there's only 14 volumes. I'm pretty close to this one. I think I've read most of it, but I never read it entirely. So this was one that if I get to it, like if I get those last couple volumes I'm missing, I will probably read this one so I can finally close this chapter in my life of Strawberry 100%. But it's a really fun, fluffy rom-com series, that one of the better ones in my opinion. It has its cliches and tropes like most, but it's about this kid who wants to become a filmmaker. I don't remember it's accidentally or for whatever, but he's on the roof and he finds a girl who falls on him with strawberry panties, but he doesn't remember her face. He tries to find which girl it was, and he finds out there's a bunch of girls that have strawberry panties. It's really dumb and silly, but it's kind of cute and fun, and it's just one that I want to finish. And yeah, that's really it. It's one that I actually do recommend. It's hard to read because if you're trying to collect the volumes, they're not all available in English, so your best bet would just be read scans. Next up, we have Astro Lost in Space by the same guy who did Skit Dance and who also does Witch Watch right now. I didn't even know this series existed. I remember seeing some video back in 2020 when I was getting back into collecting, and somebody recommended it, said it was the same guy who did Skit Dance. I was like, what? They printed a sequel series that I didn't even know existed in English, but they didn't do Skit Dance? That's messed up. So I had to go out and buy it and support it. I don't know when it initially released, but I did end up buying all of them because I really wanted to support this series since they didn't do Skit Dance in English. But all I know is it's really good, and it's about these people who get lost in space. I like space stories. They're not my favorite thing, but when you get a good one, I really like them. It's pretty short. I should be able to read this one. It's 5 volumes, super quick read. So we'll see, but this one I should definitely be able to get to this year. Alright, after Astro Lost in Space, we have Danda Don, and as soon as I saw this one, and then I heard it was a previous assistant to Tatsuki Fujimoto, I knew I was going to love this series. And the reason I didn't pick it up right away is because I wanted to binge read it. I'm just letting chapters pile up. This is another one of those wild cards where I have so much I want to read that I don't know if I'm going to get to this one. If they print it in English, I'll probably read it this year. I've just been wanting the chapters to pile up, and because I know I'm going to love this series, and it seems like a really good bingeable series. So yeah, I really have no idea what it's about. The pages that I've seen are incredible, like the art and stuff, and just the paneling and whatever's happening. So I'm excited nonetheless. Bam, guys, we have just 2 left. So for this second to last series is Sakamoto Days, and this one is getting a physical release in English, which I'm really excited for. I'll probably start checking it out when the English volume drops. It looks awesome. The volume covers are incredible. They're some of my favorite covers I've seen in a very long time. A lot of the paneling and the art I've seen is incredible. I don't know too much about it, Sakamoto Days. I just know it's about it's basically like if John Wick retired and got a family and he got fat. So I'm excited to get to this one. I'm definitely going to check it out when it drops in English. If I like it, I'll probably read all the way up to where they're at. I like to, again, I've been wanting this one to kind of build up chapters as well. I usually don't want to start an ongoing series until they're about a year into circulation, because there's so many series that will end within a year or a year and a half to 2 years. So if it's really popular, by a year, it should probably still be in the magazine. But this one I'm super excited for, and I'm definitely going to read this year at least, especially when the volume 1 drops. But we'll see if I like it and if I keep reading it. That's the thing. Alright, and the last thing I want to talk about, last series I should say, is Fire Force, which recently has finished writing the last chapter, and it should be dropping imminently. I read chapter 1. This is one of the series that I bought when I was like getting back into the hobby and I was just buying series. So I bought a bunch of volumes for this, and I stopped because I wanted to make sure I even liked the series. So I read like the first chapter. I was like, wow, this is really cool, and I think I ended up buying a couple more, but then I was like, I'm not getting to this one anytime soon. At the time when I was buying it, I hadn't finished reading Soul Eater, but I finished that last year, so I'm pretty much ready to jump on now, especially since I know that the series is ending. I can read the whole thing in one go, which is really cool. This one I'm probably going to get to this year. The storytelling seems a lot better and darker, and he seems to have really grown. It's a shame it's his last series too. I don't think he's going to make anything else unless he gets bored. I should be able to get to this one this year. I don't know if I'll finish it this year, but I'll probably start reading this one this year. I'm excited. But that's the list, guys. I would love to hear what you guys are reading or planning to read this year, and what you guys think of this list. I know there's some pretty standard stuff in here, but there's some stuff that I don't feel like gets enough attention, and I'm excited to read, and just a lot of classics that I've just missed or just stopped reading and need to finish and stuff. So, but yeah, I'm excited. This is going to be a good year. I'm really excited for 2022. Yeah, love to hear your opinions down in the comments. Like I said, let me know what you guys are reading, what you guys want to read this year, what you guys think of the list, and any other thing you just want to talk about. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Peace out.